Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by King of the Cage Cruiserweight champion, Wes Combs. Wes, how are you?
Pretty good. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good. Wes, you got a fight coming up September 28th at King of the Cage Boiling Point. How's training been going for the fight?
Actually, great. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm really doing well.
Mm-hmm. Now, Reaction MMA, that's where you're training now. Who are some of the guys that you're working with? Obviously, Rob Nickerson, he's your coach, but sparring partner-wise, who are some of the guys that are helping you get ready?
I got Julio, I got Josh Clark, Matt Fogg, there's another guy, Matt Green, I think his name is. Mm-hmm. Really good, phenomenal. That guy's a really good wrestler. I got some good sparring partners. He's got some good talent over there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And your coach, Rob Nickerson, talk about this guy, because this is a coach who a lot of people don't really know about, because when we really think of MMA, we don't really think of Kentucky, even though the scene is growing, but we don't really think of it off the top of our heads when we think of hotbeds of mixed martial arts. So he kind of gets pushed to the side, and he kind of flies under the radar. But talk about his style as a coach and what he's done for you since you've been training there.
Like I told one person, he's like I compare him to Jackson in
right.
New Mexico. He's like the East Coast Jackson. He's really good. He got everything pinned out. When you come in, he's got your name on a board, and this is what we're doing today, and every day it changes. And he's got a whole philosophy behind it all. I mean, he's telling me down to what to eat. I mean, things that better you. It's really weird. It's weird to have somebody have so much knowledge and spread it on you. And I've been fighting so many years, didn't know some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Before you met him, were you getting into that kind of, I guess you could say, pattern where a lot of fighters who have been in the game for a long time get into, where there is really nothing more to learn? There's, I've been doing this for a long time. They kind of just, keep staying in the same place they've been staying at. They don't really try to add stuff to their game. They just kind of stay at the same spot. Was that something that you were kind of getting into before you met Rob?
Yeah, I think everybody becomes kind of stale, and you just kind of get stuck in a spot. And if you're training with the same thing and doing the same stuff over and over, I think it's always good to get new blood. I mean, he's really sharpened a lot of my tools that I had.
Mm-hmm. Now, on September 28th, you're going to be fighting Tony Bonello. What are your thoughts about him as an opponent?
He's a tough guy. He's got a good record, so I'll be happy to take and make that win over him.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Without revealing too much, of course, is the game plan to keep the fight standing? Because he's primarily a grappler. I think he has 17 wins, and 14 of those wins are by submission. So is basically the game plan for you to keep the fight standing?
Absolutely. Everybody knows the game plan.
Right.
He's going to try to take it to the ground, and I'm going to go for the knockout. That's all there is to it. Mm-hmm. But I'm not really worried about his game plan, because I'm going to oppose mine, and I brought in, like I said, I've got some good wrestlers coming in for this camp, and I'm pretty good. I'm squared away.
Mm-hmm. Now, you guys were supposed to fight back at King of the Cage Kingpin August of 2011. It was supposed to be in Texas, and for whatever reason, we didn't get an official press release of why this fight didn't happen, but the fight didn't take place that night. Just curious, why didn't you fight him back in August of 2011?
I don't know. I was told he was in the middle of moving. He was in the middle of moving from Texas to somewhere like California, I think it was. Mm-hmm. So he had the proper time to train and do all that.
Mm-hmm. Was that the only other time they offered a fight between you two, or were there other times?
No, it was just the one that I know of.
Mm-hmm. Because I believe when you fought Buban Simic, that was for his belt. He vacated the title, and then they had you guys fight for it. So I just figured.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yep.
It was.
Yeah. So this has kind of been a long time coming, I guess you would say.
Yeah, it's in the making, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's put it like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no bad blood between you guys going into this fight, because I just figured, why would they be trying to put this fight together, 2+ years later? So there's nothing between you two guys. It's just that for whatever reason he couldn't fight on that day.
Yeah, I mean, no, there's no bad blood. I mean, I don't know the guy at all. I mean, I wouldn't say he had anything against me. It's just two fighters going to go there and do our job. I think for Cage, it's just a good fight. They'd like to see, two guys that are, going to go in there and put on a good show.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Now, you're the Cruiserweight champion. That's a weight class that, besides King of the Cage, off the top of my head, I don't know of any other mixed martial arts organizations that have that weight class. Do you feel that that's a weight class that every organization should adopt? Because there's so many guys who say, fighting in the UFC and fighting in some of the bigger shows, when the guys cut down to 265, they have an advantage over the guys who are, in that 235 to 240 range. If we had a Cruiserweight division, it would just be in the heavyweight division guys who cut to 265. So do you think that should be a weight class adopted by the other organizations?
Absolutely. It's tough for guys that, like me or, Frank Mir back in the day when he was only 240,
Yep, exactly.
When you're sitting around 230, 240, you're a big weight disadvantage. These guys come down from 265 down to 265. So by the time they get rehydrated and all that, they're up to 285. So you're at a big disadvantage. And if I lose too much weight, I don't have anything to give. So it's like I kind of have to stay where I'm at. So I think absolutely they should create a cruiserweight class because there's such a large gap. And anybody I've ever talked to asked me that. Why is there such a large gap? I tell them I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Is it
nobody else has that? No, the weight class.
Is it a 230 max or a 225 max?
230.
All right, 230. And what was the decision behind going to Cruiserweight? Was it just that they offered you a fight at 230 and you said okay, or was it you couldn't really make 205 anymore, but you'd still be undersized for heavyweight, so this is kind of just the perfect fit for you?
Yeah, no, he created the belt already. It was already there, and
right.
I can't make 205 at all, really. And so why not go for that cruiserweight belt if the heaviest the guy can be is 230? So now we're on even playing fields.
So will you have to cut to make that 230?
No, I sit about 229.
Oh, so that's good. So when you fought outside of King of the Cage, it's been at heavyweight most recently?
Yes.
Oh, I see. And another question about fights that didn't take place. There was supposed to be a fight, I believe it was against Derek Sawyer. You were supposed to fight him in XFC when they came to Louisville. Why didn't that fight take place?
I have no clue. I mean, I showed up to the weigh-ins, and we were told the day before he wasn't going to show. I don't know. I never got an answer. And then I showed up at weigh-ins because I still had to show them that I was ready, and I never got an answer. I don't know.
Your most recent fight was back in May at King of the Cage World Champions. You defeated Estevez Jones by first-round TKO in your first defense of the Cruiserweight title. How pleased were you with your performance in the fight?
I was very pleased. I mean, even King of the Cage said they'd never seen me fight, so I was on point. Like, there was no deviation from my game plan. It was there, and it happened, and I believed in it, and that's all there was to it. I stuck to it.
Is that just coming from the training you're getting now, or is it just...
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're 40 years old, but the way you've been fighting, you don't seem that old, but you are 40.
Yes, sir.
Just curious, what keeps you motivated and what keeps you hungry to continue fighting?
The love for it. It's fun, the adrenaline rush to get in there and do something you love and just, challenge yourself and keep going forward, give you something to live for, if I was just telling it to somebody else, you stop fighting, what else you got? An average life, so it keeps you going and keeps your day busy and you train and you stay in shape and it just makes you feel good.
So right now, your sole goal for being in this sport is to have fun, defend your belt that you got now, and make a buck here and there?
Absolutely, just have a good time. I mean, I have a job that pays my bills, so I'm just doing this for fun, enjoy myself and pass the time.
How long do you plan to keep fighting?
I was asked that like 2 days ago.
Right.
Till my body can't take it no more. I mean, just to where, right now, like I said, I'm in great physical shape. I mean, it's weird. I'm in better shape now than I was, 5 years ago. So until the day I wake up and I just go, man, I can't move no more, then that's probably when I hang it up.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Now, September 28th, King of the Cage, Boiling Point. How do you defeat Tony Bonello?
KO.
Mm-hmm. Real quick before I let you go, Wes, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
I just thank everybody for all the support and, to be there and loving the sport. And I thank Cowboys Showgirls for their sponsorship, Bellator clothing line, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Wes, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck September 28th at King of the Cage Boiling Point against Tony Bonello.